Stop all Muslim immigration. Is that the best way to protect America and our economy from new terror attacks like the botched attempts over in Great Britain? Hi, everybody. I'm David Asman. Welcome to Forbes on Fox. Here to go in focus this week, Steve Forbes, Elizabeth McDonald, and Rich Karlgaard, along with Bill Baldwin, Michelle Steele, and Quentin Hardy. Let's start with the editor. Bill, stop all Muslim immigration.
That's not exactly what I'm saying, but it's very close to what I'm saying. I think that citizenship is a privilege, is not a right. And it is entirely within the rights of countries like Britain, France, and the U.S. to be very picky. And I think we should be much more accepting of immigrants from Asia, from India and China, and much less accepting of immigrants
from countries. So avoid the
Muslim
populations and
just
focus on the non-Muslim populations.
With a history of violence.
Quentin Hardy, what do you think of that idea?
Well, boss, you spent too much time with the hot dogs and not enough time with the Constitution on the 4th of July. The First Amendment respects freedom of religion even before freedom of speech. So this isn't just against the law. This is kind of anti-American. So, look, do we imprison people who believe that the Ten Commandments supersede civil law? No, we let them believe it. We throw them in jail, or we otherwise prohibit them when they start bombing abortion
clinics. So, Emac, this goes right against the Constitution, is what Quentin's saying.
Yeah, I hear what Quentin's saying. I think he's right. I think it's impossible to stop all Muslim immigration. I think it's actually flat out wrong to do that. I am for profiling, but profiling is kind of poisonous when you don't have border security.
So who do you profile, and what do you profile on the basis of? It's really tough to do because now we have to profile for doctors, right? Although Zawahiri is a doctor. But really, the fact of the matter is, there's no greater violation of civil liberties and blowing up innocent people. So yes, we should support law enforcement who really need to profile, and they have been profiling, and it's a very difficult job because terrorists are coming in not just from Asia but from Britain, from all parts of the world. But Michelle, do you profile on the basis of coming from a Muslim country? Michelle.
I don't think that you can. I mean, I think this idea is, aside from being impractical, it's also hateful. It also would damage our integrity, our reputation as Americans. Sure, there are more merit-based ways of getting into this country, but last I checked, there is no thought crime in this country, and Islam is a belief.
All right.
And people can lie.
So, Rich, forget about any kind of profiling of religion.
No, look, Michelle said something that was very profound here. Islam is a belief, and the very fact that it's a belief and not based on race or anything else should be the very reason why we should look at it very skeptically. Look, is anybody in favor of Nazis coming into the country? Can't we find a way of discriminating against Nazis without discriminating against Germans as a whole? That's what we need to do here. We need to discriminate people who put Sharia law over the U.S. Constitution.
But Rich, you're saying that Muslims should be screened, and that would be one indication of a profile.
Absolutely, absolutely. Right. If you put Sharia law over the U.S. constitutional law, you don't belong here. Why would you want to live here?
Steve?
Rich.
Well, I think Rich hits the thing precisely. You do have to discriminate, and that means you don't ban all Muslims. You don't say if you come from a certain country, we're going to put profiles against you. After all, in World War II, one of our most shameful moments was arresting and interning everyone on the West Coast of Japanese descent without trying to find out, are they pro-American or are they pro-Japanese?
Bill?
David, I'm not against Muslims. I'm against immigration from certain named countries like Syria or Pakistan.
But that's a big profile. That's a big profile. Michelle, go ahead.
There are Muslims in Britain. There are Muslims in France. Are you going to outlaw holding a Quran or going into a mosque?
And you know what? The fact of the matter is there are a lot of Muslims who are against what these murderous jihadis are up to. And by the way, it's rather ironic that Britain has, 300 sects of the Muslim faith. Many of these faiths can't even practice in the Middle East because they prohibit certain Muslim sects. So it's kind of ironic that Britain has been rather lax
Quentin, how about a litmus test? If you say to people, look, are you for Sharia law even above the law of the nation that you want to become a part of? How about that?
Well, I think terrorists might be sophisticated enough to skip checking that box, David.
Yeah,
and I think
that's
you're
true.
Also overplaying the Muslims. You know, there were Sikhs in Canada who tried airplane bombings. In 1988, there were fundamentalist Christians storing cyanide in the Ozarks. This is about fundamentalism. This is
Rich, what about Quentin's point, which is a pretty darn good one? I mean, I don't have to say what I believe if I'm applying for citizenship or even a green card.
Hey, look, this is a messy problem. If we want to be the beacon for immigrants around the world, you know, it's up to us to solve this messy problem. If we do it too black and white away, you know, we'll bring the scorn of the world upon us. We don't want that. Look, we want the best and brightest immigrants here who believe that we're a nation founded on constitutional law and aspirations.
Bill. Listen, we admit 1 million people a year as legal immigrants. Let's be picky. We did this for 40 years in the United States, country of origin. Let's just allow a lot of Asians in and not a whole lot of Pakistanis.
We put that in 1924. It was a veiled, not unveiled attempt to block immigration, and it did for 40 years. And we kept out refugees in World War II.
But we still haven't, Steve, do you have any doubt that the Kennedys, a liberal Democrat, are more in favor of immigrants from Ireland than they are from Pakistan?
Well, Teddy wants them, especially from Ireland, and that's fine. The Irish have done very well.
What do you? Come on, Elizabeth. You know, Kennedy was pushing very hard for immigrants from Ireland.
Us potato heads, I'm an Irish woman, do like to stick together, but I think Kennedy is pro-immigration. The fact of the matter is, look, you know, you do profiling. Israel hasn't lost a jet in 20 years. We had to support law enforcement who does terrorist profiling.
Quentin, we know that the Kennedys and other Irish have their preference, their country preferences. So if you have a country preference, what's wrong in terms of excluding some countries?
The Kennedys came over as Irish immigrants, rose to power, now they're politicians. And I guarantee you in 30 years there are Pakistanis, perhaps the children of some of the people who were naturalized at Disneyland this week, who will be in power pushing for them. And good for them. There were more Pakistanis naturalized than there have been terrorists.
Hang on. You know, this is so way off point.
Quickly.
The fact of the matter is, these guys want to kill us. We have to fight them. And we have to support law enforcement who want to fight them. You know, Clinton goes all over the map here. We got to get these guys before they kill innocent people.
And that's got to be the last word for now. I guarantee, gang, we're going to have a chance to revisit.